Hi, I'm Rob with We Keep You Cycling, and today the San Marco Mantra and Mantra Carbon FX. If you were looking at this saddle and thought it looked strangely similar to another large, very anatomically correct Italian brand, you'd be right. It's our opinion that the Mantra is San Marco's response to Selle SMP. Many years ago, the Selle SMP design got pitched to all the major Italian brands, and at the time they weren't interested. And today we have the Mantra, which I would tell you is San Marco's most anatomically correct shape to date. Starting with the nose, you have their no shuffle design, which is intended to reduce chafing up front on your thighs by a whopping 85%, says San Marco. It also has a slight dip in the center of the saddle to follow the curvatures of your body, creating great sit bone support while relieving the underside. And then, of course, you cannot miss their largest cutout ever in a traditional saddle. It's a whopping 30 millimeters wide at the widest point, starts at the end and goes just to the front here, stopping at the nose. San Marco couldn't go any further. The realities are the nose is so narrow that even if they put a little channel all the way to the tip, it would be nearly useless. And of course, the nose wouldn't be strong enough for you to hang off the front. So for great soft tissue relief, we're looking at folks spending just a little bit behind the nose here to get the relief all the way to the back. And of course, if you're climbing for short bursts off the nose, not so much of an issue. Flipping the saddle over, you'll see a normal shell. It's carbon reinforced to keep it both stiff and light, and the shell is mated to X-Lite rails. These rails aren't titanium. San Marco's moving away from titanium because of the cost of the material, and so X-Lite uses a little bit of titanium, but a high concentration of silicone to make them both lighter, stronger, and also cheaper. A win-win of modern science. The wings, which these are really pronounced, are designed to provide great sit bone support, and they really do fall away on the side, like a traditional saddle, though the rest of the saddle is not so traditional. The Mantra is 290 millimeters long, providing a great length for movement back and forth, and it's 144 millimeters wide, great for the average rider, and it's only 203 grams. The San Marco Carbon FX. Looking to put the Mantra on a diet, San Marco has replaced the X-Lite rails with carbon rails. They're ovalized, so watch out for your seat post compatibility there. They require clamping top and bottom, but the additional use of carbon in the rails saves an impressive 35 grams on the saddle. Coloring pattern is slightly different, but it's otherwise the same saddle. No shuffle nose, large cutout, synthetic covering, 144 millimeters wide. While this is a very impressive saddle, San Marco has two shortcomings with the Mantra. For starters, there's no cutout on the nose. And while I completely understand why they needed to start the cutout further back here, the reality is if you do a ton of climbing and you're looking for soft tissue relief while hanging off the nose, it doesn't happen. The other complaint I have, and maybe this is a little fickle of me, is I can't seem to get the stated width of this saddle correct. Last year, they claimed the width was 135 millimeters, and this year they claim that there is a width difference between the two models. Now, there is approximately a 1 millimeter width difference when we measure them ourselves, but we figure that's within the margin of error. San Marco now claims these saddles to be slightly wider or closer to their actual width than last year. And while it is particularly fickle of me to bring that to their attention, I personally think it's unacceptable for a saddle manufacturer to not get the width of their saddle right. We all know that is the first driving factor for you picking the right saddle. With those two small things to keep in mind, I find that the saddle offers a lot of great features. It's incredibly light, and for San Marco, their most anatomically correct saddle to date. I'm Rob with We Keep You Cycling, and these are the San Marco Mantra and Mantra Carbon FX. If you have any questions about these saddles or any of the saddles we carry, drop us a line or email us info@wekeepyoucycling.com.